Stress is one of those things that can certainly impact our chronic disease risk. So the normal stress response involves changing in hormone levels. So we'll see cortisol, the stress hormone, increase. We'll see adrenaline hormone increase. So that prepares us to deal with the stressors that are in front of us. It gives us more energy. It stimulates increases in oxygen in the body to make us alert and aware and able to deal with the stresses that are in front of us. However, when stress becomes chronic and persists for long periods of time, that can actually damage tissues and organs and can lead to more of a unbalanced or imbalanced immune state and hormone balance. So these things over time can contribute to something called chronic inflammation, which we'll touch on here in a moment. Chronic inflammation and its links to chronic disease. So we'll talk first about acute inflammation, something we're all probably very familiar with. If we ever have a burn or a cut or a scratch or scrape, we're going to see certain things: redness, heat, swelling, pain, loss of function. So this is all normal inflammation, acute inflammation, which is part of the healing process. Chronic inflammation is different in that it's systemic. It's more whole body type of low-grade, non-resolving inflammation that can persist for weeks, months, even years. It can be brought on by a variety of different factors, but as it persists for long periods of time, this imbalance in immune function that causes, to some extent, chronic inflammation also can damage tissues and organs. Which is a contributing factor to a whole variety of different diseases, everything from diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular disease, autoimmune diseases such as arthritis and MS. So chronic inflammation is a very big part of these chronic diseases. Chronic inflammation and C-reactive protein. So chronic inflammation can be measured by a blood test looking for a biomarker called C-reactive protein, or CRP. So it's thought that CRP assists white blood cells in removing damaged tissues and pathogens from the body. So in times where CRP is elevated, that is a pretty consistent marker that there is chronic inflammation in the body. So CRP is measured less than 1 milligram per liter, low risk, 1 to 3 average. Greater than 3 is considered high risk. So individuals with high CRP values are much more likely to develop diabetes. And individuals in the top third of CRP levels are twice as likely to have a heart attack than in the bottom third. So what are some signs and symptoms that I may have chronic inflammation? So recurrent digestive issues or persistent digestive issues, insulin resistance, which is kind of that hallmark of pre-diabetic and diabetic states, having excess weight around the midsection of the body especially, having chronic fatigue or just feeling drained and run down regularly, having difficulties sleeping, getting good sleep regularly, depression and anxiety, skin problems such as eczema, psoriasis, recurrent headaches, migraines, difficulty concentrating, regular allergies, and frequent illnesses that can indicate that immune function might be compromised. So what drives chronic inflammation? It's understood now there are many, many things that can contribute to chronic inflammation, everything from nutrient deficiencies marked by a poor diet, obesity, poor health in general, oxidative stress, if we're eating too many simple carbohydrates, too many sugars, not enough fruits and vegetables, that can lead to that oxidative stress in the body. Infections, again, insulin resistance or diabetic states. So there are a great deal of things that can lead to chronic inflammation. I mentioned hormone imbalances earlier, immune function impairment. It really is a systemic, holistic type of a problem that can lead to a lot of different conditions. Again, everything from cardiovascular diseases, cancer, diabetes. So it definitely should be on all of our radar if we're interested in reducing our overall risks. Keys to early detection and prevention. So one really important factor is engaging in the healthcare system, having a good relationship with a primary care physician, somebody that you can go to regularly. All the statistics will show that just by having a primary care physician, that generally improves health outcomes. So we're more likely to get some level of care at least, have some preventive tests that may be run to possibly catch one of these conditions before it becomes too serious. Staying up on regular screenings and checkups, of course, is vitally important too. Again, engaging in that healthcare model, getting an annual wellness check. Some of you did that with our wellness program here at CIEC, getting a blood draw and having some simple measurements run that can indicate some risks. And screenings, of course, for everything from breast cancer to cervical cancer, colorectal cancer, prostate health, bone density scans. So just again, engaging with your primary care physician and staying on top of these various screenings and checkups is one of the best ways to make sure that we're catching things early and being able to treat the conditions that do come up. Proactive steps to risk reduction. So there's a variety of different things we can do to reduce our overall risk, and we talked about especially those modifiable risk factors, those things that we do have control over. Certainly, diet is probably one of the biggest factors, and we'll have an opportunity to really dive into specifics with diet and eating habits and nutrition as we go forward. We're actually going to do some more discussions specifically on nutrition. But the simplest thing that we can all do to improve our diet is to eat more whole plant-based foods and reduce the refined foods in our diet. Number one is going to help tremendously. Moving more, it all counts. I've said this many times. It doesn't necessarily have to be an hour in a gym or running a 5K, but just all that movement we can get throughout our day makes a big difference in reducing risk factors. Managing our weight is another key factor. Body mass index and weight is certainly one of those things that can affect every single one of our risk factors. Taking steps to control stress. We saw stress can be a big factor in one of those things that can drive chronic inflammation in the body, as can a poor diet and not moving enough as well. So all these things are definitely linked. Certainly ditching tobacco products, a key there with heart health and overall chronic inflammation as well. And if you choose to drink, do so in moderation or not at all. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. I hope you've been able to take something of value away from this discussion. And of course, if you ever have any questions, definitely reach out. I'm always happy to chat further about any of our wellness topics or health and wellness in general. So cheers, guys. Have a great day.